Hi, this is Jolene Espinosa, and I wanted to share my lesson information using the Assure model. The lesson would be for a level 10th grader, a sophomore. The lesson is designed to be engaging and comprehensive. It's ensuring students not only understand copyright rules, but can also apply them in real-world contexts. The lesson incorporates multiple teaching methods to ensure the diverse learning styles are supported. So the learning objective is students not only understand copyright rules, but can also apply them in a real-world context. The language objective is student will be able to verbalize and apply their understanding of copyright rules in discussions and for project use. So the materials that are going to be needed for this lesson is the presentation that we made for the students explaining the copyright rules and a copyright-related video example from YouTube or another source illustrating copyright issues. Handouts for the students, which would be scenarios for group analysis, and a handout of a summary of definitions of key terms. And then, of course, a short quiz just to, ensure that the students really understand what they're learning. So the lesson, this is how it would work. It would be an introduction to copyright, which is the video for 10 to 12 minutes, the presentation on copyright, fair use, public domain, and it provides also some real-world examples. Then it would be an interactive video, a short video where students can watch it and discuss the examples of copyright infringement. And they can cite some of the things that they observed that were probably dilemmas or ethical issues that have to do with copyright infringement. Then I'd have the students get in groups for about 15 to 20 minutes and analyze hypothetical scenarios and apply those rules that they've learned. So I would also provide them at this time with the handout for the vocabulary so that they can use it, so they can be familiar with the jargon and utilize it in their group discussions. So then once they're done, after that 15 to 20 minutes, they can provide class discussions. So it would be a whole group discussion where people share their answers, their scenarios, and they discuss the different copyright rules that they had to apply or look up, or anything that would help other students understand what their scenario was about. And the quiz would be a short quiz to just check for thorough understanding. So this presentation will align with the Assure model, the lesson presentation, but will be further enhanced with interactive activities and clear assessments to ensure effective learning. So, A, for analyze learners. So our target audience for this presentation is high school sophomores. They're unfamiliar with copyright laws, but they are familiar with the internet, media, and digital content. Understanding their age and level of knowledge, the presentation is designed to be clear and simple, using relatable examples and very straightforward language. So it doesn't assume prior knowledge of copyright law, but it starts with the basics and builds from there. So I'd have to take into consideration some learning needs, and it takes into account that students might not know the details of copyright law, and it's supposed to be kept engaging and practical. I teach pre-K, so it's hard to gauge a sophomore, but I have a daughter who's a junior, so I'm trying to gauge the information that way. It's practical. I will offer examples that students are familiar with. I did use an example of Divergent and some other examples that kids could understand. Prior knowledge, the presentation does avoid technical jargon, so it just focuses on real-world situations and that the students can relate to. So I tried to keep the vocabulary as simplified as possible. State objectives. So the objective of the lesson is explicitly stated in the introduction. They understand what they should be able to do by the end of the lesson, and the goals that they should be able to demonstrate their knowledge. So it would imply that they should grasp the rules and be able to apply them to real situations. So I would, of course, in the lesson provide that information that they need to keep these key concepts in their minds because they will be applying that. So, and then I state the objective here and also in the presentation. S, select methods, media, and materials. So the method of instruction is going to be lecture style. It's good for showing knowledge to the students. The materials that are used in the lesson will be visual aids. So we'll have the videos, the introduction video presentation, and then the example presentation of copyright infringement. And then, of course, handouts of the vocabulary will also be used. It should help reinforce key points, and the different examples can help delve the students into more critical thinking skills. This would help engage students visually and reinforce the key concepts. You utilize media and materials. The lesson would utilize supplementary media. And so that would be the YouTube video of explaining copyright, and the overview of the information, the clips that would have examples, like showing a snippet of a viral video with watermarks and discussing how copyright might apply in that case, or even like the way people use choreography and TikTok dances, and how even some people are propelled into stardom, though they've utilized different types of music or something that would be applicable to show copyright infringement. So by utilizing these materials, the lesson would be more interactive and engaging for the students. So it's good for both visual and auditory learners. R would be require learner participation. It would not include direct interaction during the lecture, but the lesson plans is to have students demonstrate their understanding by the end of the session. So to improve the participation aspects of the presentation, they would work in small groups, and this would be done through providing different scenarios for students to analyze. And then I would be doing observations, informal observations, to listen to the students and see if they're grasping the concepts correctly. And then I'd be providing different scenarios for them to explain. And they'd have to apply their knowledge, and hopefully all the students would be able to participate and be able to provide their thoughts, their information, and what they've learned. E would be evaluate and revise. So the lesson will include an implicit evaluation strategy. Students have to demonstrate their knowledge by the end, but they have to align with, however, to fully align with the Assure model, formal evaluation will be included. So there are students, of course, that are not going to be easily prompted to speak and be part of discussions. I understand that, especially for that age, it's very uncomfortable. But it's a part of life, and it's something that they need to become comfortable with. But for those students that are really struggling with, shyness or, I guess, self-esteem issues, we'd have a short quiz at the end so it could test their understanding. So we'd have information from the handouts, and then, of course, from the lecture. And if there was still something that I needed to revise on the lesson, we could extend a class activity or library activity, and they can be asked to apply the rules they've learned by identifying copyrighted works in a set of examples, or they can create a copyright checklist for future use so they can see, like, if this is something that can be utilized in discovering if something is fair share, if it's common, or if it's something that would implicitly be copyright infringement. So it's designed to be engaging and comprehensive. So hopefully the students would understand the copyright rules and be able to apply them in real-world contexts. Lesson would incorporate multiple teaching methods and to ensure diverse learning styles are supported. And also, the students definitely be able to showcase their work. This lesson is supposed to be done within an hour, but I know that is ambitious. It's very ambitious to expect that the lesson would be completed in under an hour. But I honestly see that the lesson could be broken out into a week. That way it could reinforce the information for students on a daily basis.